This video showcases a game I had versus Szalamii. It's a bit old, like a few weeks, maybe even a month old at this point. I was somewhat busy with uni and some other things, so I was a bit absent from YouTube for a bit. But now I'm going to be uploading more frequently. So this is a game that I played with Szalamii in a tournament, just a weekly tournament. I believe it was the Dominus, not the War Chief one. Mongol versus English, so already I have a bit of a more favored matchup going for me than for him. And the thing that I want to mainly talk about right now is the spawn. This spawn is honestly kind of amazing for me. It could have been obviously better. It's not perfect, but there's a few good things about it. I got lucky enough with gold being close enough to the wood line where I don't need to make a gear to mine it. It could have been obviously closer, but it's more than livable. Second thing is, even my gold is close enough for it to not be that exposed, but that's not the main part. The main part is how far behind my stone is. My stone is very far behind my TC, which it's a large travel distance, which allows me for my units to not be under threat when it comes to playing versus English, where there's just going to be a feudal push of sorts. Now I messed up a little bit of my wood collection background, and that's a bit besides the point. The really nice part about the stone being so far away is that my armory production won't be under threat when I get pushed, and it will give me some time to push out some more units before I have to engage versus English, depending on how the station unveils, obviously. But you know, that's one of the likely scenarios. Now I open up with a pasture. Like, this is what I would like to call a greedy build, because I don't make a scout to optimize a little bit my food resource collection, and I go for pasture. So hopefully, it's going for pasture first is quite a common build as Mongol, but in this case it also serves to minimize the damage in case I don't find enough sheep. I was actually able to find quite a lot of sheep, so I'm not in threat in that regard. But if you don't find a lot of sheep, it can be quite brutal, so having the pasture up as early as possible could save you in that regard. So this build is a little risky in terms of you might give your opponent too much sheep and miss out on sheep yourself, and both of those are pretty bad, since that will make it so the opponent can hold off on transition into farms for longer. It's not as much of a problem versus an English player, as an English will want to go for farms regardless. Yeah, this build just allows me to get a bit of fast eco going, which is also important versus English, because Mongols tend to age up a bit slower than other civs, and getting a bit faster eco will allow me to age up a bit faster than I would have otherwise. So yeah, the main another good feature that I haven't mentioned about my spawn is that it's kind of guaranteed for Mongol, because you just always position yourself next to wood, but the tree line kind of makes a bit of a protection for harassment, as I can still probably mine decently wood right next to my base without getting shot at, just like I can mine sheep without really getting shot at, as long as I pay attention and micro respectively. Now, one nice thing about Mongols, well, one of many nice things about Mongols, is the ability to produce horsemen before age 2. This way you can start your Uwu horseman production, so the 2 for the price of 1, before you hit H2. So by the time you hit H2, you can just upgrade them to be as good as normal horsemen, so as good as H2 horsemen instead of H1, but you already have like 4 or 6 out, depending on multiple factors. Here I got it a bit late, and I had more, like I had 7 workers on my age up, so I'm not gonna get that many out. He also does attempt to block my stable, which I think he could have attempted to block it a lot more. It is slower than him, so if he just keeps moving to block it over and over again until I have to move it back into the safety of my TC, would have been really bad for me. I would not have the double production, and I would have wasted a lot of time. But luckily for me, he decided not to do that, so yeah, that doesn't really matter. I tried to click on some more villagers to gather gold, but instead I've gotten ships. So yeah, the only problem with my wood line is that there is another wood line right above it, which kind of creates a choke point, which would make it harder to send horsemen down. Now, I really like the silver tree age up for Mongol. However, versus English, I think it's just too important to get the movement speed going instead, just because of early aggression. The silver tree does not give you anything for early aggression, while this still gives you economy. The DS stones still give you eco by having your workers move faster, and it gives you a bit of defensive capabilities as well. Hence, it is better overall. Now, again, I feel like I'm not playing the hottest here. My archery range is a bit late. My stable was a bit late as well. But yeah, since I'm playing Mongol, it's not too much of a problem for now. Since the longer he's delayed, the more diminished his advantage is of having gotten H2 faster, since I will definitely catch up in production and outproduce him sooner rather than later. So the main concern now would be to stop him from building a tower, as if he builds a tower, it's going to be a lot harder to defend against him, as he will essentially have like another quarter of units that he doesn't have, like another quarter archer that he actually doesn't have. So it's very important to not allow him to get a turret up, or at least have it be very, very far back. Now I went for a heavy horseman composition initially and added 2 archer ranges to hopefully force my opponent to build a lot of spearmen, and then eventually just switch into mass archers so that spearmen would not be as useful. That was my initial goal. Again, I'm just trying to delay my opponent. I'm not actually wanting to attack into my opponent, but if I show myself to wanting to attack, the opponent might just not see my entire army and just be a bit more scared to engage. And since he was missing an army, it forced him to pull back, which stopped the harass, which buys me more time, which is always good. The main mistake I'm doing right now is I'm not scouting to see if he gets up a turret, because I wasn't expecting, like I was already expecting to have a turret down somewhere, and I wasn't expecting to be able to stop it from being made. I just wanted, I knew that he was there. I just wanted to keep an eye on that location with the Khan ability. Now I do not see a tower right now, which and these units are not getting the effect of the tower radius, which kind of makes me think that there isn't a tower up right now, which is actually, I'm somewhat surprised. And now I see the worker coming in only now, so that alerts me that I feel like he got that work out way too late, and I engage now to stop him from getting the tower down. He does not have a lot of units here. My army definitely outmatches his. I try to micro my horsemen, and I think I do a decent enough job, while focusing down the spearmen with my archers. There's only 2 spears left for my opponent, and this fight is over. Now I am in a really good position, for a simple fact of that I have a standing army and he doesn't. Even if he's been gathering gold in the meantime, unless it's been excessive gold mining, which I somewhat doubt, he shouldn't have enough to age up, and now I should be in a position where I can move over and deny his gold eco If and as long as I do it before he gets enough to go to h3, I should be in a really good position. So yeah, I move my army across. It's quite a short travel distance. We spawned quite reasonably well, less than reasonably close than probably should have, but we're quite close together. He also already invested in a blacksmith, which I probably then also should have now invested into a blacksmith potentially to make up upgrades of my own eventually as well. I did not think of that at the time, but probably would have not been a bad call. Now here I should have already been moving up to find his gold, which is another poor, not poor, but another problem with my initial opener is that I don't get a good scout over the entire map, and then I don't have the time to be scouting since English pushed so early. I don't know where his gold is, which is obviously not the best for me. I'm doing a little bit of harass here. I'm not sure if this is worth it, if I'm being honest. I think the trades are a bit unfair, well, actually somewhat unfavorable to me, but due to me being somewhat ahead, it's alright. I scout that he's not mining gold, so that just means that he's committing a bit more into feudal for now, or he's already getting H3. I don't think I looked at, maybe I have looked at this in game, I don't remember exactly, but I should have checked to see if he had enough to indeed my brain's not working. If he mined enough gold to age up, I could check that by clicking on the gold and seeing how much he mined. Obviously this is not a 100% guarantee method, as he could have gotten an upgrade from the blacksmith, like the ram upgrade, if he was planning to commit a bit more into aggression. Here I'm just gonna try to bully a little bit to scan. Well, I'm not actually doing right now just because a lot of his units came through, but that's what I'll be doing over in the future. I got my tower a bit more forward so that I get the benefit of the YAM network. And now that he's still not, as long as he doesn't mine gold, and since he hasn't hit H3, I'm pretty sure he does not have enough to go up, or at least he is forced to keep producing units instead of saving up food to go to H3. I feel like I'm in a really good position while I out mining him in gold. I can keep up my production with him, so he should not be able to push and kill me, and I am I should age up before him since he doesn't have access to gold. So I feel pretty good about my position right now. Obviously I felt not perfect because I am playing against a really good player, while I myself am less of a good player. But this is definitely a good position for me right now. Well, again, one thing that I didn't take into account at the time, it did not come into effect, but one thing I didn't take into account is that he could have potentially moved to a different gold. Now that's unlikely for a reason that he can protect his gold with his units if he wanted to. So unless he's specifically not taking that gold, just to show that to me that he's not taking that gold, to fool me to think that he's going for heavy feudal, which is possible, but I would say unlikely. So it should not be much of a concern to me. Now at this point, I feel like I should start trying to save up food, but not like actually probably not cutting too much military production, but saving more into food production so I can go for H3. And as a nice feature from the Mongol is that you can just produce archers from the archery range that's next to an UU to get the double archery production, and it doesn't cost too much for you to do that. So if you just add a few units here and there, you can just only produce the double units, and then add in a few units every now and then you'll have and probably maybe even outmatch your opponent's production while saving up a bit of a bank if you're planning to age up. Obviously this save of all bank isn't perfect since I was lacking a bit of wood, so I needed some more pastures, since I had to send all of my workers out on the map earlier due to me lacking pastures. due to me lacking sheep, well, pastures as well, but yeah, the causation being the sheep. I also probably should have sent them on. I should be getting upgrades 1 because I do not have enough food to age up anyways, and he's still not mining gold, so might as well just get upgrades. Wheelbarrow is a really good update that probably should have gotten way earlier. Probably could have moved my workers to a hunting cabin and in a bit, and then have researched the. I'm not actually sure what the upgrade is called, but the one that makes it so that you gather food faster from animals. That would have been probably quite useful. So I see he has quite a force and is built around, but that force again is not too scary. It's probably a bit stronger than mine right now, but it's not. He does not have that much more units than I do, and I think he actually has less units. Suggests that his units are a bit better, just because he initially has longbows and I do not. Being the main difference, this forces me to build up a bit more of archers and units in general, just so that I can match his army, and which caused me to delay a bit more of my age up. I probably could have pulled off gold, the 4 workers. It's not probably much, but might as well have 4 workers mining resources I need right now than not. I decide to engage just so I can protect my turret, while my units are still getting the buff from the turret. His ones are for some reason not getting the buff, so this is should have been a decent fight for me. I think I still lost a bit more than he did, but especially after that. But it wasn't too horrible for me. Again, another mistake is that I keep having my can here. If I really wanted to get scouting done, I should have just had another scout build and kept my can with my army, so that I could have used his signal arrows to, well, make my army more efficient at fighting his. Now I'm hitting an age up, and I might have overblown the amount of units I have on my age up. Probably making to have too many workers building the age up, given that I am already ahead in terms of technology, so might as well make sure that my production is going to be up to speed as well. This fight is again alright. I don't know if it's in my favor, but it's good enough. It's not horrible, and now I've aged up, so I'm in a really good position. I'm gonna produce mana. I'm gonna get upgrades over him. I'm gonna produce mana terms. Gonna get my units upgraded. It's just a really good situation for me to be in. And now I see that he has added horsemen to his position, which I didn't see before. I cannot really fight his army. He actually has a lot of stuff, so I should pull back here, which I do, or at the very least I tell my units to. However, as you have seen by the thumbnail and you'll see now, only my horsemen decided to go back, and my archers decided that it was a good idea for them to all die there. I had around 30 archers before that fight. After that fight I've saved less than 10 archers, and now I'm spamming out mana terms as best as I can, but that probably is not going to be my saving grace at this point, and this has been insanely unfortunate for me. Now it still probably isn't lost right now, since I do have the age advantage, and now I have well, I'm gonna even get a quad barracks going, so with constant mana time production. My horseman got an upgrade, which probably not gonna do too much due to him having spearman, but it's better than not having it, I guess. And I have a knight and mana times production going, so it doesn't look too bad. Again, another mistake. My can should have been with my army. Could have used the signal arrow, even with my archers not following back. Maybe I could have saved a few more archers. Maybe I could have dealt a bit more damage. Anything, every bit helps, essentially, to say the least. And now his army is indeed excessive comparative to mine, at least. He's also insane amount of Rams, so this is a be all end all. If he wins this, well, if he if he wins this, he wins this. But if he loses this push, then I win the game, as long as he hasn't done enough damage. So I send in my mana times to try and take the Archer Fire, while using my workers to kill the Rams. Trying to, like, my main problem is his archers right now. Even though I'm building armored units, they are still the main problem, so I try to focus them down with whatever units I can. I'm losing a decent amount of workers, but if I can stabilize, I should be okay. I'm building crossbowmen, which is definitely the wrong call. I should just be building more mana times instead. I don't know why I had crossbowmen queued up. I've killed all of his rams, but I have 53 supply, which means I've probably lost a lot of workers, as I still have some military count. Now I'm lacking in food. Perhaps if I wasn't lacking food, I could have cleaned this up, but I think I'm lacking too much food. And his army is just not uncleanable. It's just uncleanable for me right now. He can kite my mana terms, and he has enough archers to just kill my mana terms. They just don't do enough damage in that amount, and now it is indeed more or less GG. It is very unfortunate, given that my position was really good, but losing those 20 to 30 archers has been just, well, devastating. Now I don't know if I would have won for sure had I had those archers, but I would have definitely been in a much more favorable position were I to have archers in my army comp. Now I stay in a bit longer, because I'm frankly really disappointed and angry at how things went, because I really thought that I was in a really good position, which I was. It's just that my army did not do what I told it to do. If, as you believe it or not, I did not intend to lose 20 to 30 archers for free. But yeah, that's done, and now I see more rams coming in. I don't think I quite realized how many workers I lost at the time, but looking back, I definitely lost already too many workers, and I do not have an army to repel the army that he has. And I will tab out shortly. Yep, right, and there I go. Yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I'm a bit triggered. I don't have anything of the absurd, but yeah, just want to let my opponent know that I'm not a complete idiot, and I did not mean to do that with my archers. But yeah, it's unfortunate. It was a nice playing versus Szalamii, and seeing that, yeah, I could rival him, even though I definitely had way better matchup and way better spawn. But yeah, it's gonna be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.